Hey, it's Brian Young here. I put together a short video series on navigating Amazon's fees. Now, when you start selling on Amazon, you're going to notice there's a bunch of fees that Amazon charges, and it's so important for you to understand what those fees are, how much they are, and how they're going to impact your business so you can accommodate for them as you go out there and evaluate and purchase product. Now, in this video series, I'm going to have to chop it up into smaller pieces because I know it's probably going to run a little longer. We're going to talk about the three different types of Amazon fees. There's long-term storage fees, monthly storage fees, and then just the regular fulfillment fees or selling fees. So whether you sell your product via FBA, so fulfillment by Amazon, or you sell the product merchant fulfilled, where you fill the product yourself, send it to the customer yourself. There's going to be some fees involved, and so it's really important for you to have a good grasp on what those fees are. At the time of making this video, there's been some big changes to the fee landscape on Amazon, but it's not something to get freaked out about. Amazon's always changing things, and so what's really important, what's most important is you ask yourself the question, why is Amazon changing these things? Why are they raising their fees in these particular areas? Why are they doing these things? And then strategize from there. So pivot and innovate and change the way you do business to fit the current marketplace. It's so important. So this video will not only cover what those fees are. These video series will also cover maybe some strategies that you can use to accommodate the new fees that Amazon is charging online sellers. So first off, what is a long-term storage fee? Well, Amazon defines long-term storage fees in this way. Actually, I took this clip directly from the Amazon seller help page, and it says on February 15th and August 15th of every year. So there's two different dates every year that Amazon is going to take a look at your inventory and charge you fees. So on February 15th, they're going to look at all your inventory, and for every item that you have that has been there for 6 to 12 months, you're going to be charged a fee. And so according to this printout here, it's $11.25 per cubic foot. For every item on that day, February 15th, that has been in your inventory for 12 months or more, instead of getting charged $11.25 per cubic foot, it's going to be charged $22.50 per cubic foot. And that's really weird. I mean, how do you even know? I mean, if you're selling books on Amazon, how do you know what is a cubic foot really? And we'll get down to some examples on that, but I just want you to know if on February 15th or August 15th you have something in inventory that's been in inventory for 5.5 months, it won't be charged a long-term storage fee until the next interval, which would be August 15th. That's why some people are like, yeah, if you source a bunch of product on the 16th of February, you ultimately have a lot more time for that product to sell than you would if you sold it the day on February 14th, let's say, hypothetically. So the main question is, why is Amazon charging these fees? There's so many people in the seller forums on Facebook and on some of the other websites and are contacting me through email, and they're like, why is Amazon doing this? And there's some conspiracies going around that Amazon is trying to get rid of the third-party sellers. They're trying to edge out booksellers out of their marketplace. And I completely disagree with that. I think that's so counterintuitive because Amazon sellers, third-party merchants on Amazon, account for what is like 60% of Amazon's revenue. So that's huge. I mean, you remember when Amazon started out, they were a marketplace for book selling, but they didn't carry the books themselves. They just provided a platform for other sellers to connect with their buyers and sell products that way. So they've been very dependent upon third-party merchants since the inception of their company. So I just think it's kind of far-fetched for people to assume that because they're raising fees, they're trying to get rid of us. And they want to do it all themselves. That doesn't make any sense. Or maybe they're favoring some of the larger volume sellers. I just don't think it's true. Well, if you take Amazon at its word, this is their statement. Essentially what they're saying is their fees have gone up, their logistics has gone up, and they're passing those expenses on to us. It's still a pretty reasonable fee structure, I believe, but they want us to be motivated to sell our products quickly because the faster they get in and out of their warehouses, the better. They have more room for more products and more books coming in. I think it makes a lot of sense. They don't. The reason why they initiated the long-term storage fee in the beginning was because people were sending junk to Amazon that would sit there for years, And they're like, we can't do this. We can't be your storage facility. Like, you need to only be sending stuff in. You need to be diligent and only send stuff in that's going to sell within the 6 months or 12 months. Otherwise, we're going to hit you with a fee. And that's kind of what they're doing here. So, how do you determine which of your inventories is subject to fees? Well, there's three different places you can look this up. We'll kind of talk about these a little bit more in the future here. You go to inventory age, inventory health report, and what that'll do is it'll organize your inventory based on how many days it's been in stock and how many days it's been at one of Amazon's fulfillment centers. Again, these are only fees that are subject to people that are actually sending their physical product to the Amazon warehouses, uh, then to be shipped out to the customer directly. If you are doing your own fulfilling, like if you have bookshelves in your basement and you're stocking your own inventory, you don't have to worry about any of this stuff because Amazon's not storing your products. The other place you can look is recommended removals report. Again, these little snippets here that are on this slideshow presentation are directly from the Amazon Seller Central help pages. So this is what Amazon is telling you to do. So the question is, people are worried, and they should be, because you need to take all fees and all expenses into consideration when you run a business. And so the question I get sometimes is, how often do we need to be checking our inventory for these long-term storage fees? Do I need to check every day? It's important to understand that Amazon operates on a FIFO system, so the first in, first out. So if you send a copy of Mike Gerber's E-Myth Revisited into Amazon on July 1st, and then you send another copy in on August 1st, and they're both sitting there, and then let's say one sells on October 1st, it's the first in, first out rule, so that they will, even though those books are maybe identical in Amazon's system, they act as a quantity of two on the Amazon listing page. They're going to assume that first one you sent in sells first. So then that way, that August one that you sent in won't be eligible for those long-term storage fees until that particular copy has been in stock for six plus months or 12 plus months at those February and August intervals. So it's important to keep that in mind. Some people ask questions like, and I know I alluded to this before, will items ever be charged both for the 6 and the 12-month fees? And the answer is no. You will either be charged $11.25 if your item has been there for 6 to 12 months, or you'll be charged $22.50 if it's been there for 12 months or more per cubic foot. Other questions we get is, at what date is the inventory's age determined? I mean, because if you're listing a book and then you box it and you ship it in, it doesn't get onto the fulfillment center's floor for like 3 weeks. What day? What day does it start? Well, it starts the day, the moment that it's received by the Amazon fulfillment center is when that clock starts ticking. So not when you listed it, or not when it's in transit to Amazon, but when it actually gets received by an Amazon fulfillment center. So what does that look like? The long-term storage fees for a standard size book. I mean, because we talk about the cubic feet and all that, it's really confusing. Well, here's the breakdown. So a standard book measuring 8 inches by 6 inches by 1 inch. That's your basic paperback book. I think the book that I used for this particular example was Cash Flow Quadrants by Robert Kiyosaki. It's a great book. That book, if it was February 15th or August 15th, and that book had been in stock for over 6 months, 6 to 12 months, they would charge your Amazon seller account 31 cents. Now, after a 12 plus month interval, if it's still there, they're going to charge us 63 cents. And then every 12 months after that, they're charging you 63 cents at each of those intervals, rather. So every February 15th and every August 15th, you're going to get hit with that additional 63-cent charge. Now, that is significant, because if you're sourcing books, and you need to keep these fees into consideration. But by no means do these fees break the book selling model at all. I mean, there's so much ROI, there's so much return on investment built into the books that we source. I mean, again, in previous videos, I've said we average over 700% ROI. And so while I'm not happy about these additional fees, and while they are going to have an impact on my business and how I evaluate product and buy product moving forward, my criteria is going to change a little bit. It's not going to cripple my business. It's just going to force me to be a little more innovative and creative, and to kind of trim down on my expenses in some other areas. We'll get to that in a bit here. So let's take a look here. This is just another breakdown, 8 by 6 by 1 inch book. I think yeah, that's what I used in my example. Again, here it is. If you have one unit, there is a little bit of a difference. If you have multiple units of the same book, the fees change a little bit. So it's important to familiarize yourself with these fee changes. It's actually more expensive to have by a penny. It's more expensive to have 2 units, and it's more expensive to have 10 units. So you can see, if you have 2 units that are there from 6 to 12 months, you're paying 63 cents or 31.5 cents per book. So you can see the fees go up there a little bit, but basically the same thing. So again, where to look: inventory age, inventory health report, and the recommended removal report. And you can find those on Amazon Seller Central. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this video now. Be sure to watch part number 2. We're going to actually go to my Amazon Seller Central page. We're going to look at my inventory, and I'm going to show you how to access the reports necessary to kind of gauge where your inventory is at regarding these long-term storage fees.